Do you find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle of trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
Helps if I take off the last graphic there. Welcome into the Facts Not Feelings. Oh man, we have made it to the Friday, which is also known as the weekend, and today's been a little dicey. We were just talking offline. It's been a little dicey of a day, to say the least. So we're just glad we made it. We're in one piece. I may be switching over the water to something stronger here shortly because of the day that's been going on. But everyone, thank you so much for being here, being a part of Facts Not Feeling, the Furniss Fast Lane. And for Russell, hello to you. We've got Peter. And Peter, if Jeff comes in and says he has the first response, he doesn't. Peter Smith has the first response. And I will agree with this, Peter. I think both Jeff and I are very, very excited to talk about this and have this whole episode going. Very, very excited for it. And also, Peter, I have to agree with you on this one as well, is that Nathan, yeah, he's pretty smart. He chose BZ Consultants Group, so he's a pretty smart person. And we've got Eric on the show. Hey, Eric, how's it going? And hold up, is that one of the crazed Stanleys you just had there that you can sell for $1,000?
Well, our friends over at Evolution Media Group sent them out, and so I'm just gonna do my basic drink, right?
So Kristen rolls around, and I got an awesome pair of kicks. Thank you, because I love my kicks. And I was teaching Chris how to use StockX, and so all of a sudden I start getting what he's been looking at, whatever. And it just comes up with the Stanley. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, we've lost our damn minds and are spending it. And I get the craze. I went through the experience of trying to get my nieces and it was insanely difficult. But $1,000 for a mug? What am I missing here other than incredible marketing?
It's funny. One of my New Year's resolutions was to drink more water and wake up in the morning and drink water before I drink coffee. Because usually I go straight to the coffee because I have kids and that's the only way to get myself moving in the morning. Right. And my wife was like, I didn't realize it, how much that Stanley Cup has helped actually drink more water. But also I didn't realize that these things are $100 each. They're not cheap. It's ridiculous.
No,
but I got this one as a gift from someone in the auto industry. So I feel a little bit better about utilizing it and, repping their logos there. So
there you go. Heaven forbid if it ends up on StockX for $1,000, you can always buy another one. So this thing, you watch these videos and people are losing it right now. There's I don't know if you've seen the videos Target, and it's Black Friday on steroids. People are just cruising. They're knocking people over. I go, calm down. I'm all for making a buck, but at the expense of humanity, I'm not so sure about that. No. But I'll go through this. I'm big on Yeti or I just spaced the other one. I can't remember the other one, but it's been, like I said, Hydro Flask. I'm big on both of those, and I'm good with that. But I'll go through. That's a 32 ounce. I'll go through probably 3 of those a day. I drink a ton of water. But
I've this whole drinking more water is it's great, but it's led to me having to get up every 20 minutes to go use the restroom. So it's a good and bad thing.
At night.
There's Ortega.
Ortega, Brains, Brian. It's so good to see you. I don't know if you caught the episode already, Brian, but we gave you a huge shout out there. Just your awesomeness. So thank you for everything you do, buddy. Thank you.
Good old Brains.
Good old Brains. Excuse me. All right, so let's jump into this here. So we just had a killer episode drop, and I was so excited to speak with you about this. If you didn't catch the Thursday walk and talk yesterday, and hold up, Brian here. Thought it was a solo cup, Brooke. You know what? At this point, Brian, it is. We just need to make it through the next couple of hours, and then maybe not even make it the next couple of hours. We might be doing that red solo here shortly. But you and I met officially at NADA, and
digital dealer.
Digital, man. At this point, just know what I'm going to say, Jeff, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I told you this would be the quickest mindless activity you did today, other than you got to understand what Brooke's trying to say versus what the Brooke is just coming out.
That's all good.
So digital dealer we met. Thank you, Dan Moore, for making that happen and getting to know more about your company. I was just going, man, this is an awesome product. Like, it is so cool. Very it's what is needed, not just in our industry, but in so many industries. When you're looking, if you're doing it, the marketing in-house, you have someone that's really proactive about it. Even if you're a marketing agency, then the AET, I was so impressed with you, with Andrew, and the technology that you all have. And I just go, man, so I've been really, really stoked to have this conversation with you and to break down just some of those marketing trends for 2024 and what you're seeing. So let's start with, what was one of your takeaways from the show yesterday?
I think that it's just, I don't get to talk to a lot of people about this. When I talk to people about, like, in the auto industry, we're talking about our products all the time, but we don't just talk about what's going on in the industry unless we're, shooting the shit over dinner or something like that. Right. It's just always refreshing to get, to just talk about what's going on. And, I don't have all the right answers and everything. We try to all do our best, right? But I think just bouncing ideas off of one another and getting your opinions on it, it was just fun to, like, kind of ping pong off of one another about, what's going on, the trends that we're seeing, the tools that people are using, the AI stuff, it's crazy. But I think that's one of the best takeaways that I had, is just having a really open conversation about, things that are going on, because it's not all the time that you hear that. You hear about tools and you hear about this and that, but never about what people are actually doing. So
amen. And as we started the show jokingly talking about the Stanley situation, I can tell you from firsthand experience, the marketing of that, it was a year ago, and my sister, I have 13 nieces and nephews, and I asked my sister, like, hey, what does she want for her birthday? She's like, oh, she wants a Stanley. Her big sister has one. She's got to have one. So I was like, okay. It's like, what the hell's a Stanley? Once again, I'm thinking like 1980s, like the green canteens. I'm like, what? And so I see this, and then it's so difficult to buy. And by the way, their customer service is god awful. Like, I did a whole episode on how bad their customer service is. But anyways, the marketing that they've done to that has just been crazy. I mean, they knew their demographic. They know, okay, we're going to do TikTok. We're going to get celebrities. And I go, what the hell's a Stanley? So obviously I was not their prime market area. I totally get that. But that brings me into one of the things we talked about, was the impact of creativity for younger teens. Because as you and I probably don't want to be getting older and hurting more and being like, get off my lawn, you've got this younger generation coming up that has a completely different mindset on what work is, on how they should be interacting with social media, all these different things. And you spoke a lot about that. And then, like, catering not just to those employees, but also to the consumer. And case in point, Stanley is now, I forgot the number I saw this morning of like how many billions of dollars, whatever. But the stuff's going on StockX now for $1,000. Like, if that's not good marketing, I don't know what is.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they've done a really good job. And I think, it's funny. I saw something like the other day of like trends we hope to see ending in 2024. And the top one was like the influencer, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Like, it's like brands are doing a great job with it. And that's a perfect example of the Stanley Cup that we just happen to be drinking out of right now.
It's nuts. And we all can say, like, okay, we know this product. To me, that's probably one of the bigger ones I've seen in the last year that is just skyrocketed. And once again, whoever did their marketing, just kudos to them, because they knew exactly who their audience was, and then went after it a hardcore. I mean, you look at some of these influencers out there that have just got, millions of followers. Well, why would you not connect with them? Now, also understand as a consumer that they're only pushing that because they're getting paid a ton of money. So understand that as well, but that's a whole story for another day. But that, to me, that was a really big one of just catering. My good friend Josh Green just he did a reel about how the younger generation will go in and speak with their owner. The owner wants to give them a raise or wants to give them a promotion. Like, no, that just means more work. I don't want more work. I want less work or someone to help me. Well, how about I do this? And so just understanding how that mindset works of the younger generation is so key, and how you market them is massive. Oh my gosh, it's massive.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. 100%. Make it fun and funny.
And Brian, that's where you come in. You've got fighting inflation. You've got the Super Bowl commercials, obviously the great zombie commercials, and that right there. And I know we talked about this. It was just, he understands, hey, if I wouldn't watch it, why would I expect anybody else to watch it?
Exactly. And like, when I look at Brian's stuff, obviously they're trying to sell cars, but what they're trying to do is just talk to somebody, right? And just connect with somebody on a unique level. Whether it sells a car or not, if it brings them into the dealership, I think Brian's done his job, right? Just by somebody remembering Valley High Toyota, or, the used cars that they have on their lot, or Efron dressed as a wacky waving inflatable arm tube man, those are just fun things that give a little bit of life to this industry and connects with that user, that person that's looking at TikTok, that's looking at Instagram, that's, hey, the car industry is not always that serious. It can be fun. Oh
yeah. And his last one he dropped, I was laughing so hard of him calling all the car names incorrectly. I had a good fun. Have you seen that one yet already?
I don't think so. No.
I think it dropped this week, but it's him. He's like, hey, I'm Brian Ortega. I'm the content creator or whatever he called himself. And then he's like, Frankie's filming him the entire time. And he's like, it's the Toyota instead of the crown. It was the tiara. And it was funny. He's like, I was like, have fun, man.
I think he tagged me in that, and I played it, and then something like caught my attention, and I turned around and was doing something else. And like, how I'm like a dog with squirrels. Speaking of dogs, stop it, dude. I see something that's like squirrel, running away doing something else. So.
Okay, Russell, you don't have to explain this. I had a challenge getting in because of you all. You're going to have to explain that a little bit there, Russell. And to Brian, it was a tiara. And like, I was laughing so much at all the things that were going on there. And Brian, you're getting some love here. Peter, I agree. He's phenomenal. He's awesome. He's great at just. And I also have to say is that good job. Like, they always push the limits on what legal will and will not be allowed them to do. And they don't get discouraged. Like, no, we're just going to go forward. We're just going to go forward. And hello, all you beautiful 2024 is going to be. Yes. Russell, I was the end of 23 could not have come a second sooner. I was so done with that year. Grateful for what I learned, and be like, things that I will probably get kicked off the air if I say. So I'm very excited to have the new year on the way. How dare you not watch, Jeff?
Sorry, buddy. I'll catch up on it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We got one more for Russell, meaning there were so many people trying to get in this. Well, we are pretty popular.
That's just who we are.
But Russell, it's mainly because of you, let's be honest. And ask for forgiveness, not permission. Exactly, man. So true. All right. So we've talked about your first point there. We've talked about the younger generation. What is another takeaway for you from this amazing episode that is incredible?
Since we talked, we talked a lot about AI on our when we recorded this back in November, right? And it was funny, we just started playing around with it at the office, right? And we spent the last couple of weeks really kind of building on some AI solutions and what it can do for the auto industry. And it's really crazy, the opportunity that you can teach these things to do. And, I want to push again, leaning on AI and trying to learn this stuff. I think if we look at what the way that we can help improve ourselves is utilizing the stuff that's out there. But you got to learn how to use AI. That's the one thing that I've figured out when we were playing with all this stuff, and I'm working with our front end engineers and stuff. Is you got to teach this stuff, but go on to like Instagram, the YouTubes and stuff like that. Figure it out. Start embracing it as part of your daily life, especially with work. I mean, it can write everything from your radio scripts to your basic social media posts, like stuff like that. Really just it's funny. I'll give a kind of a hint of what we're doing is like, you can teach it to voice fingerprint something. And like you can, it's funny. We're working on a tool right now where I can go talk into a microphone and it can record my voice here. Right. And then it can voice fingerprint me talking, and it sounds like me, and it does everything that I do, all of my mannerisms. Right. I'm not a great public speaker. I'll be the first one to tell everybody that. There's a lot of ums and ahs in there. And the AI, you can like, it trains itself on how you do that. And it blew me away when we were playing with it. So, you know, the opportunities are limitless with what you can do with it.
Amen to that. And I don't know if you're playing around, because if you're cloning your voice, are you actually cloning yourself, where you no longer, where I sit, obviously we're live streaming right now, but I can actually, you sit and I think it's like 15 minutes or so, and you say certain phrases and it sees your mannerism and it will full out clone you. Which is, and that's been around for a little bit now, but it's taking off so more and more, where then you're like, hey, all I got to do is type in what I want to say, and it will create my clone, and it will say everything for me which is just, it's nuts.
It's insane. It was one of the coolest things when we started putting it together. I remember, you know, the first time my business partner and I were kind of looking at it, and he's like, give me something, a recording of you. And it's like, yeah, I was like, I don't have anything. He's like, just find something. So I found something that we were doing, like, you know, tutorials on for tools, and I gave it to him. And he uploaded it, and then he had it write a radio script for me for, you know, a Hyundai Tucson or whatever. And it was in my voice, like every part of it. It's terrifying. Like I played it for my wife, and she's like, oh, you did a really good job recording. And I was like, that is not me. That is the computer.
Yes. It's nuts. And Russell, I figured at some point you're going to have to jump in here with the AI talk. He says AI is going to be such a part of our industry in the next year. It's not even funny. Let's remember that the human side, yes. And to that point, I think I've told the story, but I got a call from my brother as we're talking about this voice. I'm actually going to leave that up there. The voice cloning here. And I was in a meeting. I couldn't answer. And so I just sent it a voicemail. He calls again. And finally he's like, I need you to call me back immediately. Are you okay? And I was like, dude, yeah, I'm fine. I'm in a meeting. He got a call and he could hear me. Obviously, my voice is out there. He hears my voice in the background, like screaming for help. And it's not me. And it's like, if you don't pay the ransom right now, it happened to him. I go, Nate, no. And it was my phone number. So they cloned my phone number. I think it goes to my phone number. And I just go, dude, no, we're good. But 2 weeks later, happens again to him, where he's like, hey, I just to make sure you're okay. I was like, who the hell is like targeting you? Like, this is insane. So, and I know this happens, you know, it's just, going back to what Russell is saying and things that we've said multiple times, is just remember that you're the human in the AI portion. I mean, the number of times I hear, oh, ChatGPT sucks. You know, sometimes it's so dumb. I'm like, well, let's look at the prompt you had in there, because most likely it's user error.
Exactly.
And your prompt sucks, or you didn't ask enough questions. Like when I'm doing social captions, or I'm putting together the podcast, creating alt text, anything along those lines of, hey, what can I automate this a little bit more? Am I asking the right prompts? Because you may ask it once and think, oh, I'm done. Well, that's not how, no, you got to keep asking, hey, is this truly optimized? I mean, I just saw a thing on LinkedIn, I think it was this week, about the prompt that the guy gave for a TEDx speech. And it's like almost a page long, which is insane. And so, I mean, really crafting, and there's a reason also why these chat prompts are just, the prices on them are insane for someone that can create the prompts.
The ones that really work, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're absolutely correct. It's all about the prompt. I was just using it yesterday, and I literally had to type in about 15 different prompts before I even got one that was like getting halfway there, because it was still off enough. But like, you start figuring it out as it's giving you answers. But this is where, like, you know, kind of doing your research about it, find out on YouTube or Instagram, and just start testing stuff. But yeah, it's all about that prompt.
It's nuts. Like, I keep a list for all the ones that I use on, I'll say, regularly. So I just keep, and anyone that's doing this, I do the same thing, whether it's a Google Doc, whether it's like a Excel sheet, Google sheet, just keep a list of everything, because that's going to simplify. So you really don't want to go back and like, oh, what was that great prompt I did? And I've also noticed that every time there's an update to whether it's ChatGPT 4 or whatever, ChatGPT or whatever one you're using, there's a big difference. Like, hey, that prompt just elicited a completely different response than I've ever received before. Yep. Why is that? Like, the prompt hasn't changed, so something changed here. So there was an update of some sort, and it's obviously learning all the time. And Jeff, as always, happy birthday to Jeff. If I happen to wish you a happy birthday, I promise it's me wishing you. Yes. And Jeff, I will say the same thing. So happy birthday right back to you. And it's coming from the one and only Brooke, BZ, Brooke Christine Furniss. So
not the one that's getting abducted or kidnapped.
yes. It's like, man, but there's been, we all have funny stories. I think I did another piece on this where Claude, I've noticed with Claude, there's way more fallacies and way more hallucinations than with ChatGPT 4. But I mean, it just continues to get better. And you got Gemini around the corner. So I mean, there's so much to this, but going back to you are the human and knowing that, how can you make things easier for yourself, for your team, for your business, for everything. I mean, hey, if your goal is to help people and you're really looking at that, okay, we want to make sure that that video is placed as much as it can in front of people. Mm-hmm. And so looking at what's the best YouTube title and then knowing, okay, if you've done this enough, you know that it's like unlock, rev up, like little things like that. It says all the time. So really understanding, is that the best title or is it because it's so used to people asking that? Exactly. And I'm just going to spit it out to you.
I think I got the word bespoke more in the last couple of days than I've ever seen. I noticed that when I was like, because I had to do a bunch of stuff with this prompt that I wrote, everything was bespoke. Like, okay, if I actually had to tell it, stop using bespoke in every sentence. So
mine has been, anytime I see something comes through and it says delve into something, I'm like, ChatGPT wrote that because it uses delve all. I'm like, just use a dive. Like, it's not the big, like use don't use delve. Stop using delve. Yeah. Like, I don't say that.
Too proper. Yeah. This does not sound like me at all. Like, yeah, it's it can be it can make it. I'm getting really like you said. It's easy to interpret who's writing what, or if it's actually been edited, because that's the way like we use a lot of our GPT is like, it'll give us a good idea, but then we'll go in there and, change little nuances in there to make it sound a little bit more like us and a little bit less like a, computer writing something.
Amen. And if you, and anyone that doesn't, I know if you're new to the show, just a heads up, if you are copying and pasting this, whatever AI is telling you, and you're copying that and put it somewhere on the web, there is a watermark that you can't see that Google is going to see. So just please don't copy and paste, put your spin on it, add an extra hashtag, do something that is just not 100% copy and paste, or it's going to come back to bite you at some point. I mean, there's so much about this that we don't even know. So it just,
and it's going to continue to change and get crazier and, and on a weekly basis, it seems like. So,
yes. So the other one I know we talked about quite a bit was the evolution of in-house marketing in our awesome industry. And as we've got Brian coming in here, and obviously it is now the Brian Ortega, I think is what we're saying here, Brian. So, I mean, you look at something like that, you look at Mohawk, you look at some of these dealerships have just done a phenomenal job with in-house marketing. And it's not an easy thing. I mean, especially when unfortunately our industry, I will say, what's the word I want to go, is a little behind the times when it comes to, we need to invest in that. We need to not have one person that's doing digital marketing, BDC training, HR, taking photos, turning off lights, taking out the garbage, do the social media, but do it all. And you're also going to film it. You're going to come up like, it's just, please have a team. Please have a team.
Well, when I started in this industry, and I think I talked about it on the show, that's what I did. But we had a team. There was somebody who managed the website, right? Everything from the content that went up there to, just making sure everything looked nice and was, compliant. We had 2 designers. And then there was me who was doing just the marketing side, but I also did the creative and I, hired some folks, but it cut down on our costs and we were able to get rid of certain vendors because we were able to start doing everything in-house. And we were a lot more intimate with it. And it came out in our creative. It came out in the way we projected ourselves and our digital presence. It's just, but you really have to dive into it. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to get this one person and they're going to take care of everything. It's just not going to happen. Like it might happen for a month or two, but that person's going to get burnt out so damn fast. You really just need to invest in the people. And that's what this industry's become, and that's that's been the theme for a long time. And we've built that back up it's the people that make this industry, the people that are doing the work, the people selling the cars, the people that are, even in the back, right. That really make this industry come to life. And, so invest in that person.
Amen to that one. And Brian, I know that you feel that hardcore on that one. I look at this, I'm like, man, and I've been in that position as you have, like you're trying to juggle about 20 different job titles while everyone else is just juggling one. And then the first thing that's cut is advertising, marketing.
Yeah. Blows my mind.
I'm like,
blows my mind.
Okay. I mean, they're going to take credit for the sell. I get that. But if it wasn't for the marketing, and now granted, last year was a little different because anybody was just walking in and paying insane.
Whatever they want, whatever the dealer was asking for a car, right?
Yeah. Now we're back to the normal stuff, but it is just please, if you're listening, take the time to analyze and say, okay, how much social media do we want to do? And then from there, build a team accordingly, not just throw it on somebody. Please just stop doing that. Stop doing that. What else are we missing here? What else you got for me?
What else I got for you? Hard to say. What do you got for me? You're the host here.
But I barely know my name at this point, so we're just doing good to get through here. We got Brian saying that creating is, oh man, good old incentives. Oh man, don't miss those days.
Yeah, right. That's it. Well, that's what everybody's doing this week. Brian, what are we creating this for January? Let's see if he's got any thoughts there.
And I know we had Brian on the show a couple months ago, probably, and just all of the back end that happens for them to ever get all of those incredible videos that we all love, we all laugh at, think they're hilarious. And it's not just, hey, I have this idea, let's go do it tomorrow. No, there's a whole storyboard. You got to take time to invest this. It's the same thing as social. If you're just throwing stuff up there and thinking it's going to work, what's the intent of it? Like, I know that I had something that dropped, I don't know if it was this week or last week. And I've been meaning to do that video for a very, very long time. Very long time. It just took a bit to get there because I'm like, I've just been so slammed. But I'm like, I also know that it's a big problem that I've come across like a lot. And so understand that. And then Brian is saying he's fighting inflation. That's what he's doing.
Oh, I saw that one. That one was genius.
It was awesome. Awesome. And so for anyone that doesn't know AET, just real quickly, reach out to this man. It's awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you all do?
Yeah. So when we started the company in 2019, we wanted to empower a dealer, right? And empower those folks that we've been talking about, the creative folks, your teams that are doing your marketing. So the biggest piece that we wanted to solve is, creative, because that's a person that, has to know Adobe or Illustrator. So what we did was we created a tool that allows anybody without any kind of design experience to go in there and have kind of those guardrails up for creating auto-specific inventory or ads. So basically, if you think about it, like, if you're a Ford dealer, right, we've gone in and we've extracted all of the digital assets from Ford, everything from font packages to jelly beans to brand colors to, everything that's incorporated with a brand down to the monthly incentives and logos that come with it, and place them on a canvas that you can just easily manipulate to your dealership. So you can give it your own stamp of, creative for my dealership, or, that tattoo that makes it unique rather than having the same old cookie cutter stuff that you're grabbing off a Ford site, or, some digital agencies do, is a lot of cookie cutter. But it's not only just creative. That's kind of where we started, right? And then we built in a lot of the areas for deployment. So we built in API connections for Facebook to TikTok. We're working on some Google stuff right now. We're going to be dropping a couple of video platforms here soon as well. We can bring in inventory directly for AIA advertising. We call it the easy button for AIA ads. And that's across multiple platforms as well, from one UI, where I can deploy automotive inventory ads to the Meta environment, to TikTok, to Snapchat. Again, we're working on some Google stuff right now as well. It's just a tool to assist, right? We're there to try to help and give folks the tools necessary to make their job faster. Whenever I look at it, we're in the business of creative, but also time saving, right? Whenever I look at somebody that has maybe 10 dealership groups and it's that one person, right? That's handling everything. That's like 3 to 4 weeks worth of work. And by the time you're getting stuff out there, guess what? That month's ending and you're flipping it back over. We're cutting production times down by about 60% is what we found in, over the last few years. So that's it in a nutshell. We're working on some really fun AI stuff that we hope to introduce at NADA. in what, man, that's what, in like 3.5 weeks.
And it's nuts.
So,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get our stuff together and get it ready for everybody.
We'll see. Maybe for the next conference. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to get there. We've been working on it for a while. We got some cool partnerships that we're working on with some data providers that are helping to feed all of this. So I'm excited for it. What are you excited for an ADA? I'm ready to get back to Vegas. Hell yeah. Let's
Vegas, you take in small doses for sure.
Absolutely.
It ends up being, it seems like a lot of conferences end up being in Vegas, and it's just like, oh, let's just go to Vegas here.
Yeah.
And Wayne goes, I use AET to call myself for boring Zoom calls. Dude, that's a good one. The first time I saw that was a couple months ago, well, probably like 6 months ago. And I was like, that is brilliant.
Yeah, man, a meeting for a meeting, type of calls. Yeah.
I love it. No, NADA, the show is, it's actually a perfect segue here. The show is going to be broadcasting there all day Saturday from 10 to 5. The Google form will be put out here. I don't know, maybe today, maybe Monday. We'll see. It's been a crazy day so far. So it might be Monday. The Google form will go out for time slots. It'll probably be every 15, 20 minutes. We're going to be not going to be on the showroom floor, showroom floor. Tell them in auto, the show floor. There we go. Let's try that again. We're going to be at the Dealer Funnel and Dealer World Wynn Villa Suite, which is, I mean, come on, you know they don't mess around there. So
thanks, Dan Moore.
Yeah, thank you, Dan Moore. Thank you, Troy Springs as well.
Yeah, Troy as well. Absolutely.
Kenny, all of them, but I forgot Jason, all of them. And what's nice about that is like, yeah, you're still on the floor, so you're gonna have to come over here. I get that. Come over to the Wynn Villas, but it's the Wynn Villas. It's overlooks the balcony. We're gonna meet from the balcony, unless weather goes crazy, and it overlooks the golf course, overlooks the Sphere. I mean, so it should be a good time. Very.
I need to reach out to Dan Moore to make sure I get the invite to that one.
Yes, and they'll be doing. I don't have all the details yet, but kind of like we did at Digital Dealer, there'll be happy hours. I think every night. Where the party at? The party is at the Wynn, yo. That is where the party is.
That's it.
Yeah, so I think it's I fly into Salt Lake, and then I'm flying from Salt Lake over. I've got to be in Salt Lake for a couple of days. So I think I get on the 31st, and then I'm there until Sunday, I want to say. But plan on like every day just being chaos. Once I have all the details, I'll send it out to everyone. And whether you can make it over to live stream, great. We've got a freaking huge block of time that we'll have available. But also, hey, come over to the happy hour. So it'll be. We all know Dan puts on a good show. So
absolutely, one of the best hosts in the industry.
Yeah.
Besides yourself, obviously.
Obviously, I think him and Kendall do a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you don't mess around. If you're invited to a dinner with them, you cancel everything and go.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just now trying to get my schedule together. I got my first meeting on the books 2 days ago. Nice. So hopefully it's going to be a fun one. It always is. So
yeah, it's just chaos.
Yeah, it's a marathon. Everybody remember that. Bring your good shoes.
Bring your Jordans. Bring your running shoes. Your Asics. Whatever shoe.
Whatever's comfortable. Whatever's got that nice high arch to make sure you're not in pain. I made the mistake my first show when I was at CK Advertising of wearing Converses because we all got orange Converses, which if you've ever worn a pair, they're not comfortable. Mm-hmm. They have no support, and literally by the end of it, my feet were I could barely walk. My business partner who came with me from CK, her feet were bleeding all over the back, like just not comfortable shoes because they were going for comfort or style instead of comfort with it. So they didn't wear socks. So yeah,
it's a little tricky. Before I had my own company, hello doggy. Before I had my own company, it was always like a 3-piece suit I had on. I had my heels, and I just go, no way, I'm done with this. Like, no. I'll still dress accordingly, but I'm wearing comfortable shoes. Like, it's too much. Like,
yeah, absolutely,
way too much.
We took some inspiration from you and our our entire team for Christmas. Got some custom AET.
Dude, that is awesome.
Some Air Force One. So
that is
rocking those guys.
Oh, I'm excited to see those in person, man. Those are awesome. I've got mine. I can't get to them over here, but I growing up, and this is the part of the show where we're off the rails at this point, but I grew up and I always loved the Powerpuff Girls, like a huge Powerpuff Girls. Bubbles, my favorite. I love Bubbles. In fact, my college room dorm, my freshman year of college, was I had like the Powerpuff Girl sheets, and I'm like, what am I, 10? Like, what am I doing here? I had a bubbles. Brian, by the way, said those are dope. I'm thinking you meant the shoes, not my Powerpuff Girl assembly in my dorm room. I'm guessing on that one, Brian. And so when I saw they were going to be doing the dunks, I was like, man, I got to get these. Of course, no one wins on sneakers, but then they magically appeared for Christmas. I'm like, okay, eventually we'll get all three. I've got bubbles now. Then we'll get the other two.
There you go.
Yeah.
How many pairs of shoes do you have? Like,
dude, I don't know. I've lost count. I need to count. It's nowhere near what it used to be. At one point I had like over 400 pairs. And now I would say, if I'm going to guess, it's probably 200, but I honestly have no idea. I went a little crazy at the end of the year.
You're so lucky. I've gotten into the shoe game recently. Like, I've got a couple pairs of Air Forces and then, just nice shoes. But every time I get a pair, my wife's like, okay, go get rid of a pair now. Like, that's not how it works. They're not done. Like, that's not exactly like, you have to have a shoe for the occasion, a shoe for the mood. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And it's funny. Like I have them like organized for the most part on my rack. And then my kids go in there and then they're all over the place. And shoes are like, it's like, I want to get mad at them, but at the same time, they're like wearing my shoes and walking around the house in them. And it's like, okay, let's not do that. I got to find a new room for them.
I had my brother, he had a little pug. This is going back a long, long time ago. Anyways, he had this little pug, and it was always his apartment. He couldn't have dogs. Don't know why he got a dog, but he got a dog anyway. So he's got a dog, and that little Scrappy and I were at odds quite a bit. Let's just say that. So I go out, and if you are a sneakerhead, back in what was this, 2003, maybe, I want to say, the Cocoonies came out, and it was made for almost like a triathlete where you could just quickly slip it on. It could get in water, whatever. It's bright yellow. I still have it to this day. Yellow. It looks, it's awesome. It was one of my, short of my Jordans, was one of my favorite shoes. I wore it all the time. And I go out to the garage, and I was like, dude, I go to step in the freaking shoe, and the dog would take a shit in the shoe. And I just go, oh, I'm going to kill that dog. I was pissed.
Oh, I'd be pissed and like kind of impressed at the same time. Like, that's some good aim. Like, but yeah, I'd totally be pissed at the same time. Luckily, like one of our old dogs used to be a shoe carrier, and we'd find them like, shoes in the backyard. That dog has gone and over the other side, but it's luckily our current ones don't do that. So
okay, well, that's good. That's good.
But they're not pooping in shoes either.
Dude,
so
I was not happy. Oh gosh, I was like, I'm gonna kill that dog. I mean, it was dog just like tore through, ripped up my mom's screen. It was just not a good situation. Anyways, fun times. But with that, anything else you want to add to what we discussed, or anything you just want to add? I know we're going over to NADA. Anything you want to talk about, or we can wrap this sucker up.
I just always like to stress the fact that this is a people industry. Believe in the people. Give them the chance to do well, but also fail at the same time. This is the auto industry. It's we're working with. When it comes down to it, small budgets. They're not $1 million budgets on a monthly basis. So, give people the chance to create, and you never know what'll happen for you. And there's a lot of people that I'm sure have had success stories out there with creative and how they've done it. That would, we could get, 150 different people on the show talking about it, but they all had to start somewhere, and I'm sure they failed once or twice. So believe in the people, believe in tools that are out there, try stuff, fail again, fail better. Right. And if you need some help with it, you can always try AET as well. We can help you.
There you go. I'm gonna throw up there. There we go. There's your link again. And you got Russell saying, amen, Jeff, to the people side. Yeah. And I will also say with the creative, and I know we have talked about this previously, but once again, this is something that I have had to learn. And it's been for someone that's very analytical. Anyone who knows me knows I am very analytical. It's show me the data, and show me the data. To understand that when it comes to social media, that it may explode and you have no idea why it did so well. That also, on the other flip side, is you think something's going to do great and it fails. Just take the time to understand, like, what is the purpose behind you doing something, and to not, while you look at certain engagement and certain metrics, understand the other metrics are, it's not that they're invalid. It's just going to take time to get to a certain spot that you're getting what you want, but it's got to be consistent. If you're posting consistent bad crap, then you're going to get crap responses.
Yep.
So just understand whether it's a podcast, whether it's a live stream, whether it's Facebook, whatever it may be. Like there's still like, I still can't figure out TikTok. We've talked about this multiple times. Like, I'm like, I give up. Like the content does well on other platforms, but for TikTok, it just doesn't work. So if you're looking at it and just understand, okay, when should I be posting? When should I upload? When should I share? And then from then those, even if you have one follower, make sure you respond to that follower. Please respond to that, because that is your community right there. So just while the consistency is very important, make sure it's good consistency, and look at only certain metrics, especially in the first couple of years, just because you're going to get run down and disappointed and discouraged because, oh, I didn't get the likes, I didn't get this. Well, did you help somebody?
Worry. And don't worry, it'll come. Just stick with it. Just like everything in life, you stick with it. It continues to get better, and it'll be funny because you'll look back a year from now and you'll be like, "Oh man, that was crap that I posted before," because you've learned over the last 12 months exactly what works and what doesn't work, and what was actually crap. And you learn from the mistakes. So.
Oh, amen. I mean, I just recently, and I didn't do it before because I was like, I didn't know how to respond. I mean, I just got lit up my first while. And so now it's like going back and not only just saying, oh, thank you so much for your feedback. I've learned, and then I took your feedback. Here are some other videos. I'd love for you to check out the channel. But taking those, I won't say hater. Some of them are just full out hater comments. Like that's just, you're going to get trolled all the time. But the other ones of like people actually saying, hey, this sucks. And not taking offense to it, be like, oh no, it really does suck. It's 100% it sucks. But learning from it, please take the ego out of it, because that is the only way. If you're just talking to a wall all the time,
absolutely. And I love that comment, and that's something that you don't really think about is the feelings that come behind it for the person that's posting, because like you put a lot of thought into it. You personally think it's going to work and it doesn't, and people didn't tell you it sucks. It's going to drive you down, and like it's going to kind of beat you into the ground. But don't let it. Like there's going to be haters out there. People are going to comment, especially in our industry. Like you look at people's comments, not from the industry like itself, but from the outsiders, the customers. They're going to poo-poo all over you, but just don't let it bring you down.
And speaking of poo-poo, we got Brian saying more turds in shoes than Jordans in creative. Yes. And Russell, we feel the same thing about you, buddy. Like, just thank you for everything you do. It's been such a pleasure to meet all of you and to call all you all my friends. So I super, super appreciate it. Well, with that, Jeff, I think we're going to wrap this sucker up here. I think we've covered quite a bit today, and everyone will both obviously be at NADA. So if you've got any questions about marketing, about AET, and like that, reach out to this guy. He's phenomenal. He's very smart. He's got a kick-ass tool. Product, maybe not tool. I don't know if I should have said that.
We call them tools internally. So, it's both, but
okay.
I love that. Haters hate, creators create.
It's so true. And there are so many freaking trolls out there, man. Yeah. All right, everyone. As always, you know the drill at this point. Find a way to serve today. Find a way to just help somebody. We're off to a new year. Maybe last year was a little too much for you in emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it may be. And then this year, just make a point that every day you find a way just to serve, to help somebody and to better their day in some way. That can be a kind smile. It can be opening a door for somebody, just doing something to make their day a little bit better. And with that, everyone, we will see everybody next week.